minutes till this event begins.
Watch them stay and take pictures. We're young though. We're the young ones here. We're young. Christine. Bless you.
League of Women Voters. My name is Jeff Oviatt. I have my timers Glenn Gross and Kathy Kopansky. We're all in the League of Women. Excuse me? Okay, can't hear? How's that? Can you hear there? Okay, we're all league members, but none of us live in the city of Mentor, so we're not involved in this campaign at all. We want to thank the Mentor Library System for hosting this event, and I want to remind everybody that we can have hopefully we can have a civil and polite conversation over issues. And right now, then, I'd like to start out with the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag over here. So please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, now let me remind the candidates, what we're going to do is we're going to hear about the issue tonight first for 3 minutes. So the setup is candidates are going to have 3 minutes each to give an opening statement. And then after those are all over, each candidate will have the opportunity to do a 2-minute rebuttal on that. And then we will open it up for questions. Questions will be written, and there's a box that will be coming around. It's in the back right now, and you can put your questions in the slot, and then the questions will be given to me, and I'll take a look at, which ones for redundancy and so forth, and give the questions to the people, and then the candidates will have 2 minutes to answer those questions each. You can direct it to a candidate, but we'll give probably all the candidates a chance to answer it. And just candidates, you have to get kind of close to this one. This is the PA one. People couldn't hear in the back. So the order of, after the issue, the order will be Lauren Marchesa, then Gila Martello, then Rose Iapolo, and then Christine Henninger, and Lindsay Wall, number 5. Okay, so I'm going to turn it, Gwen is going to speak from there. The rest of the candidates will speak from the podium. Okay, Gwen.
Hear me? No. Like an ice cream cone? How about now? Is it even on? I have it on my mouth. It's not working? It was. Technical issue.
Should I give her this one?
Sorry, guys. Testing. Do I need them both? Hello. Can you hear me now? Okay, I'll do this one. All right, I'm here. My name is Gwen Corbin. I am the chairperson for the Citizens Committee supporting Mentor Schools. As a society, we are obligated to educate every child. Public schools are what make our children free and functional adults. They are the engine of equality and economic mobility. Public schools unite us and make us all Americans. They give us a set of shared American values and a common understanding of our history. That's why we need to focus on learning, help our kids get caught up, make up for lost time, work with them and their parents to make sure that every single child is being challenged and inspired to do their very best. We need to make our schools a place where kids can feel welcome, supported, safe from bullying, discrimination, and violence, and have resources to support their safety and mental health. To do that, we need to fully fund our schools. We need to recruit and retain teachers and support staff with the best skills and experience and give them the pay they deserve, the resources, support, and trust they need to do their incredibly important jobs. Mentor Schools has 2 issues on the ballot in this election. Issue 3 is a 2.5 mil permanent improvement levy, which would fund needed maintenance and repairs on the district's facilities, grounds, bus replacements, and critical safety and security upgrades. This issue is an additional $88 per year per $100,000 home value. The district currently collects $1 million a year from the levy passed in 1988. But the need is $6 million to provide basic needed maintenance. Replacing one of the roofs cost $1 million. Mentor has 9 elementary school buildings, including the CARES program and preschool classes, 2 middle schools, 1 high school, a bus garage, and a board office. Issue 4, how did I lose it? Testing? Oh, there we go. Let's try. That one's kicking in.
The library might need a couple bucks too.
Not yet, not yet.
Okay.
We'll give you some extra time.
I'm not much longer. Okay. Am I okay? Okay. Issue 4 is a 6.73 mil renewal of an operating levy which funds the day-to-day expenses like technology, staff, utilities, student supports. This issue will not raise taxes and represents 13% of the district's budget for operations. The Mentor School District has consistently received clean financial audits from the state of Ohio. The district continues to review and adjust expenditures according to student enrollment and need. Grants and special state funding are requested when possible for projects. We need to do what's best for our kids and for our community. Strong state, safe schools prepare students for their future, strengthen our local economy, and protect our neighborhoods. We need your support this election, and I ask you to vote for issues 3 and 4 to keep good, safe schools in Mentor. I thank you for your support, and for any additional information, we have frequently asked questions on formentorschools.com. Cut me off. All right, I'm done. Hopefully you can get through this. Thank you.
That's good. Okay. So, candidates, I'm going to put this back on the stand. Make sure you're close. And then, should they hold this one up too? Okay, everybody can hear me now? And so this should come up. All right, so the order of speaking, the first speaker is going to be Lauren Machaza. Sorry about that. Okay, so.
Got it. Can everyone hear me? Wonderful. I'm just going to do that. Thank you to the League of Women Voters, to Mentor Public Library for hosting us tonight, and thank you, all of you, for coming out, doing your due diligence, and informing yourselves before Election Day. I'm Lauren Marchaza. I'm running for a seat on the Board of Education here in Mentor. I grew up here. I went to the public schools, Sterling Morton, Shore Junior High back then, and Mentor High, and I graduated in 1999. And those public schools prepared me for my future. I was the first in my family to go away to college. I started at Lakeland and then transferred on down to Ohio University, where I earned both undergraduate and graduate degrees, before kicking off a career in nonprofits, which is what I've been doing ever since. Today I work at Case Western Reserve University, where I'm the editor and director of publications, and I love my job. In 2016, my husband, who's here, and my kids, who are also here, we moved back home to mentor because we knew we would get great schools. And of course, we had family here as well. But we moved home really for the schools. And my kids now go to Hopkins and to Memorial. Proud to be a parent here in this district. And for me, you know, giving back to my community has always been really important, which I think is demonstrated through, you know, the work I've done in nonprofits for so many years. But now I really want to take that a step further and serve on our Board of Education. Why? Because our schools need help. Our schools face pretty serious challenges that we really can only solve through dialogue and collaboration. I've been attending our board meetings since COVID, and I've watched meeting after meeting, and what I've witnessed is truly just chaos. It's chaos, and truly I think it is brought on by a lot of controversial topics and what I see as the stuff of culture wars. That chaos trickles down into our classrooms. It is felt by our teachers and our staff. It's felt by our students, unfortunately. Our students are watching, and they can tell. And that chaos, what that's going to do is weaken the strength of our district, our overall very strong school district. And we don't want that. Our, you know, pressing challenges need to be addressed. Things like our bus driver shortage, which I've been talking about, I feel like, for months, which is starting to improve. Our class sizes, you know, our kids are still coming back from COVID. We have a lot of things that we need to address, and I think for every hour that we spend talking about the stuff of culture wars, we're not spending it talking about the real challenges that are affecting our kids, our students, our teachers, our staff, and our families every single day. So while we may not all agree on these controversial topics, in fact, that's kind of the point, they're very divisive, we can agree on one thing. We all need a strong school district. It's essential to our community. It's good for families, it's good for kids, homeowners, property values, and everyone. So I ask for your vote to help me make that happen and to keep our school district strong. Thank you.
Mr. Martello?
Well, Mr. Heath, it looks like the shoe's on the other foot. Good evening, everybody. I would like to thank the League of Women Voters for this opportunity and privilege to speak to you all this evening. Briefly, my name's Gil Martello. I am running for the Mentor School Board. My daughter Gracie is a junior at Mentor High School. I am currently a senior engineer at a local manufacturing company. And I'm asked, Gil, why are you running for the school board? And this standing room only crowd is proof of what I'm about to say. We all believe our school system is a critical pillar of this community. We all have different ideas, that's true, but we all believe the school serves a vital role in our community. In the next couple of sentences, I'm going to tell you what is important to me. Again, you may or may not agree with what I'm going to say, but in transparency, for the sake of transparency, I want to be very clear. Number one, safe schools, to me, means a school resource officer in every building. Academic achievement must be our priority. Fiscal integrity and transparency, that's a given. Parental rights needs to be reaffirmed by board policy, and we must repair the bond of trust between the schools and the parents. Ideally, we want to protect our enrollment, and if I had an overarching goal, it would be increase the enrollment. Given my background in industry, and as aviation is exploding into a dizzy array of careers, I want to make sure our administration and board are well aware of all the career options available to our students. I am incredibly proud of the diverse group of people I work with and what we accomplish at where I work. The feeling of accomplishment is what I want to hand down to our youth. We cannot demand our students to succeed. They have to be inspired. And they're going to be inspired by people who act accordingly. What qualifications do I have to be one of the best board candidates? Well, after decades of service in industry, I believe I offer a unique perspective that is not currently offered by any other candidate up here tonight. I have firsthand knowledge of how stretched our industrial supply chains are. Labor shortages are reaching critical mass. In short, we must condense the time from when students graduate high school to the point where they have a mastery of their skill set. Real briefly, it usually takes about usually takes someone about to get to the age of 30 to do this. We got to shorten that. Our CTE programs are a huge step in the right direction, but those programs must grow quickly and very fast to meet today's needs. I've demonstrated a reasonably good sense of judgment over a lengthy career. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to serve this community, and I'm asking for your vote tonight.
Ms. Iapolo?
That's okay, no one gets it. I want to thank everybody for being here tonight, for League of Women Voters and the Mentor Library, and everybody also watching at home. I'm running because I'm committed to restoring the district to what it once was and to ensure students graduate with the skills, knowledge, and mental toughness to flourish in this often harsh, rapidly changing world. I want to restore the community's trust in the board, and I want the mission of the district to return to academic excellence. I want safety to be a priority for every student. I am strong-minded but fair. If elected, I will fight for our children and continue to be a voice for my constituents, even in the face of adversity. I will never back down to adult bullies who continue to assassinate my character. I promise to work as a team for the success of the district and to support our teachers and staff who are tasked with far too many responsibilities. I grew up in Willoughby, the third oldest of 9 kids. I graduated from Lake Catholic and received a Bachelor of Arts in Communication from Cleveland State. I've been married to my husband, Jason, a Mentor graduate, for 20 years, and we have 4 children. We enjoyed living in Mentor for many years, where we began to raise our 2 sons. We eventually moved to Concord, where we went on to have 2 girls. While we loved our Riverside community, it was always a dream for our kids to go to Mentor schools. My husband found so much success here, and we wanted the same for our kids. Many of the necessary skills required to be a successful board member I received while working in sales and marketing for multiple Fortune 500 companies, working to identify client goals and objectives, nurturing customer relationships, preparing sales plans, researching customers and our competition, and problem solving are just a few. These skills, combined with being a parent and a substitute teacher in the district, makes me a unique candidate. Throughout my years as a stay-at-home mom to my 4 children, ages 19, 17, 14, and 7, I was able to work on and off as a substitute teacher for both public and private schools. Most recently, I have worked as a substitute teacher in Mentor. This has provided me with a front row seat to what our students, teachers, support staff, and administrators do on a daily basis, and will provide me with insight needed when making policy decisions that affect them. As a parent of a Mentor graduate and 3 children in the district, I have seen the positive impact that our schools have on our students. My platform consists of issues that concern many voters. There is a desperate need for our district to steer the ship back to an academic focus and away from social engineering. The fact that 3 sitting board members have endorsed 2 candidates, which is unethical in my opinion, suggests that they want more of the same. Gil and I have been listening to the community, who have voiced their displeasure in the status quo, and that is why we both need to be elected. I believe voters are smart enough to know that more of the same is bad for Mentor. I look forward to discussing the issues that concern voters the most tonight, like academics, parental rights, privacy rights, sexually explicit material, levies, and bullying. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, my name is Christine Henninger. I have I had 4 students in the district. Now I have 2. I have a son who graduated this year in June. I have a daughter who graduated in 2020 during COVID. I have a 6th grader who just started Memorial, and I have a 4th grader at Hopkins. So the main question here tonight that everyone's answering is why we're running for the board. So I believe that every student's voice is important. should be heard is an invaluable, especially regarding their own education. I'm running for the school board to support our teachers and staff, to let them know that what they do is not going unnoticed, that their voices and needs are being heard, that their leadership in the classroom is appreciated, and how together we can get the class sizes back to a manageable level, which I've been talking about at board meetings for the past 3 years, and actually with Mr. Heath. And I just want to say they're improving, and I appreciate you for that. So I offered temporary solutions, and Mr. Heath ran with that, and Hopkins is doing so much better. I actually, at the beginning of the year, was really worried that our 5th grade class, with 29, and 28 students, how are they going to learn? They're all at varying different learning levels, needs, styles. It was frustrating, but I'm thankful for that. I'm running for the school board because I care about all of our students and bringing the focus back to their needs and helping their voices to be heard. I believe that my leadership style, empathy, communication skills will be a great asset to the board because I will foster that sense of understanding, teamwork, and community. A safe space where people feel free to speak honestly and openly, leading to constructive dialogue. When compromise is going to be key because one family's needs might be different from another family's needs when it comes to their particular student. The board needs to be able to work together as a team to accommodate our students, families, and teachers to the best of our ability. I believe that by working together, everyone achieves more. So why am I qualified? So I've been PTA president at Memorial twice now, once in 2017 to 2019. Then I became president at Memorial for 4 years. Now I'm back, or at Hopkins for 4 years, and now I'm back at Memorial. So for the past 10 years, I've dedicated my time to the district, to our students, and to our teachers and families. I'm the Mentor Library Board of Trustee president. I've been on the board for 5 years. I've been a part of strategic planning committees. I coach softball every summer. I won the National PTA School of Excellence Award. I'm the only PTA president to ever do that for communication, community involvement, inclusion, and family engagement. I have a BA in legal studies and my master's degree in business. Thank you.
Okay, so now we are going to, oh wait, I'm sorry. Ms. Lindsay Wall, please come up. Nice.
No, that's okay. All right, good. Hello, everybody. Thank you. First off, thank you to the League of Women Voters, and then, of course, Mentor Public Library for hosting this event. I'm very excited to be here and very excited to see a super full room. This is awesome. My name is Lindsay Wall. I was born and raised here in Mentor. I went through Mentor Public Schools. I'm a very proud Cardinal. I started off at Rice, which is there no longer. I then went over to Shore Junior High, which is now called the middle school, and I graduated from Mentor High School in 2009. While I was at Mentor High, I had the privilege of working in the CTE program for early childhood education, and that is a preschool program inside of our high school. I had plans of going to Bowling Green, but unfortunately, life had different plans for me, so I stayed here in Mentor, where I met my husband. We ended up moving to Euclid for just a little while until we had our boys, and I knew as soon as I was pregnant, we needed to start looking at houses in Mentor because I wanted my boys to go into the preschool program at the high school and then also have the great opportunity of going through Mentor Public Schools. So that's exactly what we did. We came back to Mentor, and it wasn't too long after we got back here and my son started preschool and then into kindergarten where I really started getting more involved with our community. Paying attention, I realized, I heard rumors that there was just some crazy stuff going on at school board meetings, so I stayed home and I watched one of our school board meetings on Cardinal TV, and I immediately turned into an older lady screaming at my television. I was very shocked at what I was witnessing, because I went to Mentor schools. This was never behavior I had witnessed before, especially coming from adults. And I attended the next board meeting in person, and with no intention of speaking. I'm pretty sure that I was quarantining before it was a cool thing to do during COVID. I was quite the homebody and quiet person until that board meeting. A teacher that I had when I was at Shore, she was sitting on the board, and I was witnessing these people verbally attacking her, and it was not okay. I got up to speak at that board meeting, and I haven't stopped speaking since then, and I have no intention of stopping. I saw what was going on in our community, and it was heartbreaking. As someone who grew up in this city and loves this city and loves our school district, I didn't know what was going on. It's so important that our kids have an example. It's so important for our students to have leaders in their community, which is why I am running. I chose to run because I believe that it's important that we build the bridge between our schools, our families, and our community. So I am hoping that all of you will vote for me November 7th, or now, because early voting started. And I appreciate you all being here. Thank you so much.
I did not mention questions on the issues. Do we have any questions on the issues, Mrs. Hutton? Before. Okay, and while she's looking for those, now we're going to have a chance for 2-minute rebuttals, and we'll go in the same order that we went for. So, Mrs. Marchaza? Just in the questions.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you. All right. Ooh, goodness. Okay, so, I mean, there's not really a rebuttal here, so I think I'll just keep telling you about me and why I hope you'll vote for me on or before November 7th. So I want to continue by just saying that I'm proud to be a stakeholder in this community. I've got deep roots here. And I want to devote my passion, my energy, and experience to make this school district the best it can possibly be. Because my kids are counting on me, and I can't let them down. I'm qualified for this for a number of reasons, but for one, I want to state that I'm very excited to share that I've just been endorsed by the Mentor Teachers Association. And thank you. I honestly, to have some of the same teachers who taught me endorse me, to put their faith in me like that, was truly moving. So I appreciate them so much. I've also been endorsed by 3 members of our current school board. I've served on boards. You know, my career in nonprofits has allowed me to work with boards, support boards, but I've also served on boards myself. And in preparation for this role, I've been taking courses with the Ohio School Board Association to really understand the role of a school board member and what it means to serve, what we have the authority to do and not do, and what we're really there to do and be. So I've prepared myself in that way. I've met with teachers, I've met with bus drivers, I've met with staff, students, parents, grandparents, retirees. I've met with everyone I possibly can. I've been engaging with the public for going on 6 months now, and I've talked to people with whom I do not agree. And that is so important, and I feel that that really distinguishes me, because I think that how we interact with the public will tell you everything you need to know about who we will be on this board. And of course, hearing from everyone is the best way I can represent everyone. Thank you.
You know, over the past year, I've been attending the board meetings, and they get pretty heated at times. And one of the things I've learned over the course of my lifetime is when people are angry, more often than not, they don't feel heard. And I think there's a segment of our community that believes they're not being heard and they're being run over. Where we're headed, you know, we're all dealing with issues that our parents never had to deal with. And it's going to take some time to work these issues out. But the most important thing we need to do when we're addressing each other is address each other with respect. It doesn't matter, we can disagree, but we must be respectful. Our kids are watching. And I know, whatever the subject matter is, when we have to negotiate or we have to compromise, I know we can do it. It's hard work, but tough things, you know, they're worth doing. Or is that easy things aren't tough? You know what I mean. It's a you know, we have to accomplish the tough tasks, and it's not going to be easy, but I know we can do it.
Not sure when I'm rebutting, but I'll just add some more things. So it was mentioned that going to these board meetings was very disheartening and it was very divisive, and that's true, it is. But board members have to understand that they are accountable to the taxpayers and to the parents. And so it should be expected that when you're sitting up there that you are going to be receiving criticism. And I've been going to the meetings for almost 2 years, and it's constructive criticism. It is getting to the point where month after month, nothing is done, no policies are made. Certain board members think that every issue is the hill they're going to die on. There is no meeting in the middle. So yes, you're getting community members who are just unbelievably stressed and frustrated. So I think that's expected when things aren't getting done. And you know, when 77% of our revenue comes from taxpayers and our board members are not listening to taxpayers, you're going to have divisive meetings. So I just wanted to say that, you know, if the right decisions were made, I think that we can bridge a divide between our community and our district. And finally, I want to just brag on Gil and I a little bit. We have 19 elected official endorsements and 22 total. So we're pretty proud of that. Thanks.
Okay. So I don't believe that where we grow up or where we go to school matters when it comes to how we support our students. What matters is our actions. That's what's the most important. And over the past several years, what have been the actions of every person that's sitting up here on the board. That's what defines us and how much we support our students, teachers, and our families in the district. A year down the line, whether you vote for me or someone else here on the board, how will you know that you made the right choice? By their actions. My actions have been consistent. They've always been about the students, teachers, and families for 10 years. Not just because I was running, but because I love our district, because I love our students, and I invest my time into them. I work a full-time job. I have 4 kids. I'm the PTA president at Memorial. I'm on the PTA at Hopkins. I'm the library board of trustees president. And I still make time to give back to the district because I care that much about it. I've worked with CARES to throw movie nights for the students who have special needs. I've been a chaperone at 6th grade camp 6 times, so I can relate to any parent that has any questions. I've been to 5 graduations. I know they're the quickest I've ever seen in my whole entire life, including my own, and we were only a class of 110, so go figure that math out. I don't know. I've given to End 68 Hours of Hunger. I've gotten 2 grants, one for $10,000 and one for $7,000, just because I know our community needed it, and they ended up getting it, and I was very happy about that. I've sat here consistently speaking of the same things: mental health, financial transparency, and student and parent input, which is so valuable. Without it, without involving the students and the parents, it's not a team. Thank you.
Lindsay Wall.
Thank you. One, I'd like to start off and let you know that when we started paying attention to what was going on in our schools, we noticed that one of the biggest issues was a lack of support for our teachers. Our teachers were feeling attacked. So what we did is we actually came together, a group of us in Mentor, and we formed the Support Public Education in Mentor group. And I am proud to be a member of that group, where we have done several different activities, including a very large flower drive where we we were able to show our teachers that support and remind them that majority of their community stands behind them. In January, I'm one of the proud members of the Let Us Vote in Lake County PAC, where I realized that our commissioners were trying to raise our sales taxes, and I worked with the entire community from every hidden nook and cranny, and we worked together to make sure that that did not happen. And I'm proud to have worked with everyone. And when I saw everybody work together, I didn't understand why we weren't doing that at such a local level in our school district for our children. If everyone in Lake County could work together for that, I knew it was possible to at least hope that people in our school district could agree on one common thing, and that's what's best for our kids. I'm also proud to be endorsed by the Mentor Teachers Association. Thank you, and also a majority of our current school board members, which is just very touching. Also our Mentor City Council President, Matt Donovan, and the Mentor on the Lake Mayor, Dave Eva. I am in this for the long haul. My kids are in first grade and in third grade, and I want them to have the same wonderful experiences and opportunities that I had when I was a student at Mentor High School and in all of our schools. That's why we moved back to Mentor. We're going to stay in Mentor, and I'm hoping that we can get back on track here.
Okay, so now we are going to take questions. We need to be done at 8:15. So the way the questions are going to work is Mrs. Sutton is going to bring me that box, and I am going to reach in there blindly and pick out questions, and we will let the candidates answer in 2 minutes, and we'll sort of see how that goes. I like to run it as kind of a dialogue so that maybe I'll have all the candidates respond to one question. I think, to me, that seems most informative. So the box is being filled and running around, and I'll go over and get some questions. Wow, start right off the bat. How will you work to make sure that trans and gender conforming students feel safe in our schools? Why don't we go in the same order? So Mrs. Marchesa.
Right. Sorry. Let me just. Okay. So, yeah, we're just jumping right into the deep end. That's an important question, though, and I know it's on the minds of so many of our community members. So here's the thing. I think this question is probably about not only keeping all students safe, which of course is important, and as a member of the board would be a top priority for me. Safety and security most definitely, but I think what I've been saying as I've been campaigning for the last several months is when we're talking about these issues, we so often, I think, lose sight of who is impacted by them. And that's our kids, right? These are kids, these are children. And I've been saying that we, number one, have to lead with empathy. And number two, we must follow and uphold the law. So I think that this question is probably about bathrooms a little bit. So let's just get it out there. If I'm elected, and well, whoever is elected is going to be taking an oath, right, to uphold the law, the state and federal. And right now, it is the law for transgender students to be able to use the bathroom with which they identify. That's the law. That's what Mentor has been doing. And our superintendent's been very clear about that as well. He's made many statements about that. But the thing is, the law could change. I mean, we have bills moving through our State House right now as we speak. So it's important for us to keep an eye on the law and to make sure that we're committed to upholding it, but to remember that these are kids, and we need to create safe spaces for them, for all of them, but especially for vulnerable communities. And that's it.
I work with a very, very diverse group of people. There's about 270, 280 people where I work. And the greatest compliment I've been told is I treat everybody with respect and equally. And I think this is what our schools have to do for the children that are diverse. There is some disagreement on the bathroom policy. It is not law. Dave Yost has said that, our Attorney General, that we can create, local communities can create their own policies. So we're kind of between a rock and a hard spot. You know, we do have lower courts saying it's transgenders' right to use restrooms, and we have our Attorney General saying we can create our own policy. Personally, I think it needs to be dictated by the local community. And this is where we have to be calm. This is where we have to hear each other. We've got to come together, and I believe we can construct a policy for restroom use that benefits everybody and is non-discriminatory. Thank you.
Okay. So first of all, I think it's important to note that every building in our school has gender-neutral single-stall restrooms. You know, having open bathrooms as we do right now is dangerous for students on both sides of this issue. Last year, we had a video that went viral where a transgender student was in the girls' bathroom and he was in a way kind of accosted by 5 students, and it was getting dangerous. But it did not escalate, fortunately. But it's dangerous on both sides. So, and now just to bring up some facts, it is not law. And I challenge someone that says that to give me the name of the law. Right now, a big threat is that people say we're going to lose federal funding. So right now, the Department of Agriculture has tied our funds, our free and reduced lunches funds, to the proposed changes to Title IX. Not a single district in the country has ever lost federal funding for violating a Title IX. So, you know, you can't have inclusion via exclusion. It's a very sensitive subject, and I think that whoever ends up on the board, we need to sit down and have a serious talk and really try and find a solution that does not involve taking away the constitutional right to privacy that our students deserve.
So inclusivity starts with our school climate. We embrace inclusivity by fostering a sense of belonging to an environment where everyone feels welcomed, empowered, and safe to speak up, to be who they are, and by accommodating learning styles and disabilities. The safe space signs, which I actually love, I know teachers that have them in their room. I think it's a nice thing for students to be able to feel like there's a space for them, no matter what they are or what race they are, not anything, just for whatever they need it for. It's nice to know that they can feel safe when they walk in. Maybe they're being abused at home. I don't know. Safe spaces are awesome. The safe space signs and inclusive language is a great place to start. Listening to our students, and I think that's something that we need to do more, because all I hear are adults talking, and not once am I hearing any students talking here or us asking students what they need. It's usually us going back and forth, and in us, I'm not included in that, because I refuse to do that. I don't think that's a great way to settle any type of disagreement. Listening to our students is another great way to address issues related to racial, socioeconomic, and LGBTQ+ students. I would involve the teachers, students, and staff in discussions to get their input and perspectives. We could also use the 5 guiding principles to help us when we implement new policies, providing students equitable access to mental health services that are welcoming and inclusive with regard to race, ethnicity, culture, language, sexual orientation, gender identity, or socioeconomic status, disability, and religion, and supporting the social, emotional, physical, and mental health needs of all students in our district. Because every single thing I'm hearing isn't about all students. And that's the sad part, because every parent in here has a right to raise their child, to ask for things for their child that meets their needs. Exactly. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe the question was, how would we protect trans students? So I'm going to answer that. Correct? Educate people. We need to stop criticizing, stop judging, and be accepting. If you don't know why someone may dress the way they do or act the way they do, learn about it. I will tell you, 2 years ago, I met the most incredible young girl. She now babysits my kids, and she is an incredible soccer player. She is an incredible human being. She's beautiful. She's brave and smart. I didn't know anything about trans students until I met her. And I will be honest with you, I did a lot of learning because I needed to. I wanted to understand more. So that is what I did. I learned. I educated myself so that I could know who she really was. And I think that that's what we need to do. We need to stop worrying about if something is law, if it's not a law. It shouldn't have to be a law. We shouldn't have to worry about all of this. What we need to do is just be accepting and kind. And that's what I would promote.
Okay, we'll go in the same order. Are any candidates accepting donations from out-of-district or state organizations? So, Ms. Marchaz.
I'll start out by saying I am absolutely floored at the donations that have come in to support my campaign. I'm sure everyone up here could probably say the same, that we are probably hitting some historical marks for a school board race. Happily, the majority of my donations are local. They come from folks right here in the community. I did get one donation of, you're going to see it soon on my campaign finance report, $750 from a state PAC called the Matriots, which tries to get women elected. So that is the only PAC, except for one other small local PAC, a couple $100. But for the most part, it's folks I know, folks I've met from the campaign trail, some family members from out of state, pretty homegrown over here.
We have received support from out of state. 1776 PAC did a mailing promoting our campaign. Specifically, do I know of any out of state? No. We have a report due, I think it's October 28th, and I'll be combing over it pretty thoroughly at that point. But there are a number of special interests that have endorsed Rose and I, and we look forward to their support.
Okay, so yes, as he said, 1776 PAC sent a mailer out unbeknownst to us on our behalf. We mostly everything has come from local constituents. I would say the majority came from voters. I'm trying to think who else. We've been endorsed by a couple PACs, but we didn't receive anything from them financially. So really just, like she said, homegrown.
No, I have not.
So my story is a little bit more unique. In February, I had the pleasure of working with the Washington Post. And the day that I announced that I was running, they were actually sitting in my living room. And the story, obviously, Washington Post works with the national, it's a national news source. So after that article was published, I received donations from other school board members, principals, teachers, parents across the country. Which was actually really amazing to see that. And I received the kindest messages that came along with those donations that said, hey, way to go, way to step up. So yes, I actually kind of have a little joke going about how if I could hit all 50 states, that'd be super cool. So yes, you will see a lot of out-of-state donations. I have no out-of-state PAC money. However, the only PACs that I have received donations from would be also the Matriots, which I'm honored to have an endorsement from. And then also you will see the Mentor Teachers Association, which is considered a PAC, who also donated to our campaign.
Okay, this one is, how do you feel about political activism in school? I guess we'll go in the same order.
That's kind of a broad question. In what context, I guess? I don't know if the questioner would be willing to clarify that. Political activism on the part of students, or? Well, look, I guess I'll just go back to what I said before. If we're talking about the community and if we're talking about the school board and us adults, I mean, I think kids should be interested in politics, most definitely. It's an important experience to understand what politics means and how to be engaged in it in a responsible, I think a civically a responsible way. But I guess when you're talking about us grown-ups, you know, I think my whole platform is built around let's put the politics aside and get to work on the issues, right? So get to work on, why don't we have enough bus drivers? Why are our class sizes too large? What are we doing to bounce back after COVID? Because truly, I think we're losing sight again of, one, our students, and two, what it is a school board is supposed to do. A school board member is not, their role is not to debate gender identity and politics. Their role is to create policy. Their role is to hire and fire the CFO and the superintendent. That's what a school board member is supposed to do. They're not supposed to be a political activist on the board. So I hope that answers your question out there. If it doesn't, I'm sure to talk to you afterward to clear anything else up. So I hope I got that. Thanks.
Lauren, I very much agree with you. The board members are not supposed to be political activists. As a matter of fact, I believe we should write as neutral policy as possible. The individual who wrote that question, there was a student walkout, I think it was 2021, and where 1,000 students walked out in protest of political activism. And I wrote, the MTA sent us, or maybe the students sent us a questionnaire, and I gave my opinion. We had 1,000 students walk out, and when you break down the per hour, per student, that's basically, and I hit Mr. Wade's numbers pretty accurately. I said it's about $95 a student per day. So that walkout costs the taxpayers basically $100,000. I have no problem, and I can fully support our students being political activists outside of school. But when we come to school, we're coming there to learn. We're not coming there to be political activists. I think we have to make that abundantly clear to our kids. No matter what our political stands are, you're going to school to learn. You're going to school so you can have a good job someday and you can afford a house, because life is not easy, folks.
Okay, so I think we're all in agreement that political activism does not belong in schools. excuse me, our teachers have a hard enough time getting the basics in a given day. I think it's inappropriate that we had some teachers that encouraged the walkout during the school day. I think it's okay outside of school or in a club if you want to discuss some issues and you want to organize and be activists outside of school and outside of the school day, and that's fine. But to interrupt the school day and waste a lot of tax dollars was, I believe, it is inappropriate. It's also crazy that we spent $100,000 on some controversial books, some about activism for our K through 5 students. So I think we can agree that was a mistake, and I look forward to having some of those books removed if elected. Thanks.
I think the question we should be asking is why the students had to even do something like walk out of the school building. Yeah. Okay? I don't think it was an easy choice for them to decide to take an hour out of their day, which all of the administration and Jason Crow was on board with, I'd like to say. It wasn't that they just said, hey, we're going to walk out and we're going to leave school. They set time aside. They let them go out. They let them, it was peaceful. I was there. It was a peaceful presentation, and they just talked about how they felt because they felt unheard, which is what I've been talking about for years. They feel unheard, they feel unheard, they feel unheard. And it's not changing because we're too busy focusing on our needs and not enough on their needs. High schoolers can tell you what they need. They want to be involved in their education. They want to be involved in how they feel and who they talk to. And anything you can think of, they're super smart. We trust them enough to go into CTE programs or to go to work or to do sports or to drive a car. But we don't trust in them to know what it is they want, to ask them, hey, is there something we're missing at school that you think you need? Is there a program that you'd like to see that we don't offer? This is high school we're talking about, and they didn't want to walk out. That was the last thing they wanted to do, but it kept going on and on and on and on for 3+ years till finally, and the reason why I came is because as a parent, as an adult, I didn't even have a student in the walkout. I wanted to be present for that, and I wanted to support them and make sure that it was safe, that it was done in a very great way. They didn't yell, they didn't scream, they didn't anything. And I'm hoping that we start listening to them more and asking them what they need, and we don't have to worry about walkouts anymore when we do that. Thank you.
So I very much agree with Chrissy here, what she just said, and I think that what we're seeing is a really incredible, unique generation of kids. These kids are different, they just are. You will notice the kindness and acceptingness, just the way that students are these days. They're very involved in politics, they're very involved in the news. How can you not be paying attention? It's everywhere. I think what needs to happen is we need to eliminate the culture wars that we're seeing and stop trampling all over our students' rights. If we stop trying to divide them and give them things where they feel like what they believe in isn't equal to what their classmate believes in, they're not gonna have a reason to rebel, if you will, which is what people are claiming that those students were doing. I think what they were trying to do is just what Chrissy said. They wanted to be heard. Pay attention. We shouldn't have students across the country leaving class to go line up and create a mile-long line, everyone holding hands because a classmate got shot and we can't figure out what to do about guns. We shouldn't be doing this. So when we figure out how to handle what the students are asking for, I don't think we're gonna have that issue. Because this generation of kids, they're amazing. They know how to be kind. We just have to make sure that we give them the space to do so.
Okay, there are many students being bullied for being LGBTQ+. How will you deal with this demographic specifically? Yeah, we already had that. Okay, should the school system be run like a business? What are your qualifications to be responsible for impactful financial decisions regarding the school district?
Thank you. Yeah, that's a great question. So I don't know that it should be run like a business, to be direct. I've worked in nonprofits, like I said, for going on 20 years now, and there are a lot of similarities I've definitely noticed. Having a board of trustees to oversee the operations, but to oversee the vision and the mission, the direction of the organization is very similar. So I see a lot of similarities. Our CFO in particular, Bill Wade, I have a lot of confidence in Bill Wade. He's been very transparent. He's very happy to meet. I'll say the same of Craig Heath back there. And so I've been very satisfied with the direction financially of the school. Bill Wade has been very patient, I will say too, and has provided some very long presentations at school board meetings over the last 2 years to really help us understand how our money is being spent and what the direction is for the future. And I think this is really, too, a good time to mention my support for both of the levies. The renewal levy, of course, is not a tax increase, and as we've learned from Gwen already, the permanent improvement levy is going to help us do a lot of things around safety, my top priority, and without that levy support, we simply cannot achieve the safety goals that we have in mind, that we all want for our district. We all agree that having a safety resource officer in every building is important. Safety vestibules, upgrading our windows and our doors that don't lock. So, all of these things are very important. I do have faith in Bill Wade and his work so far. He's received 2 awards specifically for his level of transparency. So I feel very in tune with what's going on in the district financially, and I do have faith in Bill Wade to carry us forward.
I'd like to separate that question. From a financial standpoint, yes, the school district does have to be run like a business. It is a business. You have revenue, you have expenses, and at the end of the year, it all has to tie out or you're going to be in a whole lot of trouble. But if you're talking about the education of your children, of course not. Each child learns differently, learns at a different rate. That's not like making widgets somewhere where you can just, it's 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. Teaching is probably one of the most difficult professions right now there is. There are so many demands being placed on the teachers. I don't know how they do it. I know many teachers. And, it's easy for me at work because, there's bolts and nuts and pieces of metal, but they're not human beings. When you're teaching kids, that's an entirely different story. And hats off to Mr. Wade. I think he's done an exemplary job of handling the finances of the district.
So I understand, like what Gil said, that in many aspects you do have to run a school district like a business. But really, every dollar that is spent when making decisions, like in a business, it needs to be spent wisely. And I think that we have to make sure that every dollar that is spent in our district goes towards the mission of education. I agree that I think Bill Wade does a great job. I think as board members, it's our job to trust but verify with our CFO. And when we talk about our students, you can't really treat them like little clients or products. They are unique, and I think our teachers need to have a little bit more freedom to use programs or curriculum measures that work to teach different kids. Because sometimes when you try and incorporate one certain type of program, all kids aren't going to learn the same way. So I think that unlike a business, the school needs to allow teachers to teach to the kids based on their needs and have a little bit more freedom. If a teacher has had success in the past and maybe 10 years ago was working on teaching math a certain way and was seeing really good results, she should have the freedom, he or she should have the freedom to use that. So, a little bit like a business, but also with kid gloves because they're children.
Okay, so there's an educational aspect of a school, and then there's the financial part of a school. What makes me qualified? I have an MBA. I've built multiple budgets. I actually work on budgets for the library as well. Fiscal transparency is very important, and I keep hearing everybody talking about, well, safety vestibules, or we need resource officers in all of our schools. Well, here's an update that you might not know. So we have security resource officers in the high school, in both the middle schools, and now we have 4 that will be in the elementary schools rotating. So they've been working on that, and we just got that done at the last board meeting. Mr. Heath was speaking about that. But when it comes to the levies, which I actually support the levies too because they're for the students, but I also understand the hesitation of the community because it's an added expense that we can't ignore. And we also can't ignore that we spent $5.5 million in sports facility upgrades and a brand new turf baseball field, yet we're up here talking about how we need resource officers, vestibules, and all this other stuff. Well, we had the money, but we spent it somewhere else instead of where we needed it, and now we're asking for it back so that we can put it in the general fund. We have to be transparent. We have to explain this. And once we explain it, it's up to the community to decide to vote for it. I know this, and we can hold everybody accountable. But I am imploring everyone to vote yes for the levies, but I understand the hesitation. But it's for our students, and they didn't have anything to do with any of these decisions that were made. And if we vote no, it affects them. And all of this is about them. Thank you.
So I think that our school should be looked at as more of a community partner, not so much a business. I mean, we are investing our tax dollars into the school, correct? And we're hoping that the board, who gets to vote on what happens with our tax dollars, right? We get to decide where we want those funds to be spent. And when the board listens to the community and understands where those dollars should be spent, how they should be spent, and how they can be beneficial to not just all of our students, but also the community as a whole, I really do think that really it's just a partnership. We have a lot of different things in our district that are beneficial not just to our students, not just to the teachers and the parents, but the community as a whole. We have so many different wonderful organizations that utilize the fields that we have at our athletics facility. And I think that we really just need to start remembering how important the public school district is to all of the people in Mentor, Mentor on the Lake, Concord. I do think that Mr. Wade does an incredible job being transparent. As a student who was at the school in 2004, the last time that we had a huge crisis, I do understand how important those dollars are to our schools. But I do also think that right now, Mr. Wade is doing phenomenal with being super transparent. We love his graphs and all of his reports, no matter how long they are. I have, in this year since I announced that I was running, I have learned an incredible amount just from him and how finances in the school work, because it is not a simple thing at all. So.
Okay, this is going to be the final question. Okay, I did find one. I think we'll end with this one. It'll be short. What is the last book you read?
Wow, that's a good question. I'm reading 2 books right now. I usually do 2 at a time. I do a fiction and a nonfiction. I just finished up On Writing by Stephen King, which is a classic for any writer or editor. So that's the one I just finished. It was insightful, as you would expect Stephen King to be. I'm also reading Lila, which is my daughter's name. I do want to just bring up the topic of books because that has sort of been touched upon briefly here tonight. And removing books from our library, that seems to be another really hot topic. And I want to bring up, since we're on the topic of books and libraries, I've been often asked how I feel about removing books from our libraries in our classrooms. And again, I think that's another topic that disregards the impact this would have on our kids. And I can't help but think of when I was one of those kids at Sterling Morton. And in the library there in the middle of that little school, when I found Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret by Judy Blume for the first time, and I felt like I had found a secret. You know, that book had so many answers and questions that I wanted to ask but was too afraid to. And that's an experience, you know, that place of magic and meaning making that I want to have that experience available to my kids, to your kids, and to all kids in our district. And so just your question about books made me think of it, and I wanted to share that. And I think this is the last time I'm going to be up here, right? So I just want to close out by saying a couple of things specifically about being a board member here, since I've already mentioned it tonight. It's really important to remember that we can do nothing unilaterally on this board, that we must work together as a team. And to that end, I want to encourage you to watch each of us candidates very closely, how we interact with each other and other folks, and to remember that my parents here in the audience, and I just want to call out to them to thank them for teaching me the value of hard work. Hard work, specifically, is what I'm going to do for you if I'm elected on November 7th, and I won't stop there. I'll continue to work hard for you and for our district. Thank you.
I know you're going to laugh at this one. Tom Clancy, Rainbow Six. I'm a great fan of his. I read it on the way back from a trip from overseas. It's a phenomenal book. I admire the guy, the amount of detail he puts into his books and the research. But I'd like to take this pause right now. To everybody's credit up here, I don't think any of you really realize how much work is going into this election. There's a half a dozen of my supporters, close friends, now close friends, that we work around the clock. No joke. I get home from work at 5 o'clock, we eat dinner, and we're doing flyers and mailers and writing and answering emails. It is an enormous amount. And I knew it was going to be a lot of work for me. You know, I accepted that. I had no idea I'd need the help from these people that are going. Rose, I didn't know her 6 months ago, and we've become very close friends. She's got an awesome family. I have a group of supporters right over here that, I mean, they mean the world to me. We have friends that are, you know, doing all sorts of errands for us, driving my daughter to dance when we can. I just need you all to realize how much work these people up here are putting in for your privilege to vote for us come November. Thank you.
I can't remember the name of the book, but it was about the Dust Bowl in the 1930s. A single mom and her 2 kids leaving Texas and going to California. It's a very good book. 4 Winds, thank you. It's an awesome book. And I've been reading a lot of board policy, which is a big snoozer. But again, since this is the last time we're up here, I'm going to take advantage. I do want to remind people, I do support the levies, and I will be voting for the levies. And I know a lot of people are financially strapped, and so that's a big decision. And I never want to influence anybody But I do want to say that for those who I've been speaking to throughout this campaign who would otherwise normally vote for the levy and who are hesitant, I just want to say, don't hold our students in our district hostage. Vote for the levy, but if you want change, vote for myself and Gil. And I think that you'll be much happier. And also, real quick about book banning, that word kills me. It's vetting. We had a book removed by our current board called George or Melissa because it was inappropriate. No one called that banning. It's book vetting. Menor Schools is great about vetting movies. We don't have rated R inappropriate movies in our schools. We don't have swearing. We have policy about swearing and using explicit language in school. And my daughter was very disappointed at homecoming because they didn't play any songs with explicit lyrics. So I think it only makes sense that we set a standard and we're consistent and we make sure that we do not have books with graphic, sexually explicit material in our schools. Thanks.
I just want to take the time to thank everybody for being here, thank everyone who's watching, and thank the league. I never did that at the beginning. I was super nervous coming up to speak. So didn't want to forget at the end. The last book I read was Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief because 6th grade AP English is reading that. My daughter asked me to read it with her, so I read it with her, and it was actually a great book. The movie's great too, but it was a great book. So as far as, I didn't even know we were going to talk about book banning, but age-appropriate books in the schools is great. I don't think we should ban any books because someone should be able to find a book that represents who they are. But I do believe they need to be age-appropriate, just like they are at the library, just to get that clear. And Percy Jackson was, by the way, in case anyone's wondering. But despite all that, again, I just want to reiterate, like we're all saying, it's a struggle to decide whether to vote yes or no for the levy. I really hope that you're going to vote yes for our students and our teachers. I understand the struggle. I hope we get the answers to the questions I presented because I think that will help some of you. But I'm really hoping that we don't punish our students and teachers and hold them accountable for something they didn't know anything about, or the families, because if it wasn't for accidentally finding it out, how would anyone have known? No one's talking about it. And I'm asking, so the last thing before I go, I'm asking for you to invest in me like I have invested in our students, families, teachers, and community over the last 10 years. So I'm hoping that you're voting for me on November 7th. Thank you.
I don't know, I'm kind of nervous to say what book I read. The Light That Leads Us by Michelle Obama, which was phenomenal, I will say. We're really seeing a different type of school board race right now. And we're just seeing across the country topics that are being brought up that, tonight we were asked so many questions that a school board member really does not have that much control over. Whether what we believe in personally and versus the policy that we'll get to vote on as a school board member. There's so many different things that are being thrown at our school board right now. And I have to tell you, I give our school board so much credit for taking it and for being there, but also for compromising. We're talking about books. They have set policy. They have made compromises for the parents, for the taxpayers, and for our students to ensure that rights aren't being taken away, but also that parents have their rights to be notified. And I do absolutely appreciate our school board for working together and making sure that they could come up with a compromising policy that works for everybody. And I hope that I get to work alongside of them in the future. I appreciate all of you being here, I really do. And once a cardinal, always a cardinal.
Well, thank you so much for coming. I want to say the discussion was outstanding. Everybody was very civil and polite, and I think we got a lot of good insights into these excellent candidates. It's going to be a tough decision for all of you. So thank you for coming, and good luck, everybody.